Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the Akwath, which are the sincere sisters. And Shalom to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these other nations and look like these other nations. Now this lesson is going to be based on this Charlotte car fire that resulted in one person getting killed. Because like I've said before, even though most people are focused on the Iran war and all the destruction and death and chaos that's resulting from that, the Lord is still dishing out other forms of judgment as well. Car crashes, fires, storms and tempests and earthquakes, shootings and stabbings. There's a lot more still going on outside of the Iran war. So we also have to, stay up on top of that as well. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. It says one person was killed in a car fire in southwest Charlotte on Saturday morning. The Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department announced around 3:30 a.m. that it was investigating a fatal crash on the 900 block of Yorkmont Road. Medic confirmed that paramedics responded to the crash as a car fire around 3 a.m. One person was pronounced deceased at the scene, medics said. So apparently this was like a car crash that resulted in a car fire that ended in somebody getting killed. Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. And that's right. The Heavenly Father is in the midst of every judgment, every plane crash, every car crash, every shooting, every stabbing, every animal attack, every fire, every earthquake, every storm, every tempest. The Heavenly Father is in the midst of. And these are his judgments. This is how he's punishing these wicked people. Bringing destruction and wounding and killing and just overall afflicting these people. Psalms 9 and 16. The Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hegeon Selah. So for all the people that want to try to pass these judgments off as being accidents or being random, the scriptures are letting you know that these are the judgments of the Lord. Whether people can receive it or not, it doesn't change the fact that the Lord is the reason why these judgments are happening. Salakia. Deuteronomy 32:39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no power with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And through his judgments, the Lord wounds and kills wicked people on a daily basis. Because like it says in Psalm 7 and 11, Yahweh judgeth the righteous, and Yahweh is angry with the wicked every day. So when we read articles about, car crashes, deadly ones, or ones that just result in people getting wounded. When we read about fires that wound and kill people, or a tornado that wounded or killed people, or a shooting or a stabbing that wounded and or killed people. That's the judgment of the Lord. The Lord decides what judgments are going to take place and who is going to be affected by it and how they're going to be affected by it. And there's nobody on earth or in heaven that can stop the Heavenly Father's judgments from coming to pass. Once the Lord sets those judgments in motion, they're going to keep going until it's fulfilled. 1 Samuel 2:6, the Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. Yeah, so this car fire that resulted in that one person dying, that was the judgment of the Lord. The Lord ultimately killed that person. Because if the Lord wanted to, he could have made it whereas that person escaped. Or he could have made it whereas that person never got into that crash in the first place. But the Lord didn't want that. The Lord wanted this person to die. So the Lord created a scenario in which that's how it would play out. Job 4:7, remember I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? And the answer is that nobody perished being innocent. So this person who died in this car fire, they were not innocent. Because if they were, the Lord wouldn't have put them in that situation. Or if the Lord did put them in that situation, where their car crashed and then it caught fire, if they were innocent, the Lord would have delivered them from that. Because the Lord can do that. He could put you into a situation and then deliver you from it just to show you that he can, just to show his power. But this person was not innocent. They were clearly wicked, and the Lord brought a heavy judgment upon them. And the Lord did not deliver them from that judgment. Verse 8, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And like I've said before, that's the time and season that we are in. These wicked people who have angered the Lord and provoked him unto wrath with their wickedness, they're now reaping what they've sown in the form of the Lord sending judgments upon them. And in a lot of cases, these are deadly judgments. Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 2, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And for this person who died in this car fire, it was their time to die, according to the will of the Lord. Because you see, the Lord, he can bring judgment upon anyone at any time. We see that. We see elderly people die. We see babies die. Teenagers. Like, the Lord decides at what point in your life you're going to die. And he determines how you're going to die and where it's going to take place and all of that. This is why you're supposed to fear the Lord. Because the Lord controls whether you take your next breath. The Lord determines whether you're going to wake up the next day. But because a lot of people are so carnal and so detached from the Lord, they don't consider that. They're so focused on, what they think another person can do unto them, because they don't realize that the Lord controls the actions of man. Nobody can do anything unless the Lord allows it, unless he puts the Spirit on them to do it. So all of these shootings and stabbings and kidnappings and things of that nature, the people or the person or the people who committed those acts only did that because the Lord put the Spirit on them to do that. All of this, you have free will and you can do whatever you want, that's nonsense. The scriptures tell us that a man's goings are of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? So while you're out here doing whatever you're doing, and you're thinking you're doing it because you want to do that, in reality, you're doing that because the Lord made you do that. The scriptures also tell us that when you're in your sleep, the Lord seals your instructions. So you might go to sleep thinking that the next day you're going to do, A, B, and C, and then you wake up the next day and you do X, Y, and Z, which is completely different to what you initially thought you were going to be doing, because it's not up to you. You're not in control of anything. I'm not in control of anything. None of us are. Everything is being controlled by the Heavenly Father. See, those of us of the hopeful elect, we have no problem acknowledging that. But these wicked people out here, they're still, resisting. And they're still, disregarding the words of the men of the Lord. And that's why the Lord is going to continue to wipe out these wicked people, because they're not going to learn. They're stuck on thinking that they're the ones in control. And they're not. They've never been in control. The Heavenly Father has always been in control and will always be in control. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, for putting the Spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are still fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the Akwath out there, and shalom to the scattered Israelites, particularly the ones of the elect who are scattered amongst these other nations and look like these other nations. I hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah, which means Lord's will. Until next time, Shalom.